What's going on, guys? Running it back with another replay for you. Gonna be another Khorne showcase. Gotta represent my mains and get them some loving. Just to restart, gonna be talking about the builds real quick. Got some Chaos Knights here. I've got Bloodletters, some Chaos Warriors, lots of Marauders, a Blood Shrine, Valkyrie up in the sky, and the Soul Grinder being the big calling card in this matchup for Khorne. This guy rocks. One of the better units in this matchup. And I'll explain why in a moment. You might not think he'd be very good against Skaven, but is actually pretty amazing. My opponent's got tons of Gutter Runners with the with Poison, one Night Runner, lots of Plague Monks, very good at killing Khorne Marauders, but struggle a little bit against some of the other stuff that Khorne has on the table. Lord Skrulk, very good choice. He's actually pretty annoying to deal with and kind of difficult to kill. He's got really good melee stats, and is a small target, so in matchups where there's, you know, the risk of artillery, he's actually pretty good at avoiding that. Unlike Ikit. He does have some really incredible abilities like Lieber and Rod of Corruption there. Some Rat Ogres and Clan Rat Spears, and that's going to be about it. We're just going to get this thing going.
For the one who collects him the most skulls.
And
Destroy and kill.
I love the little voice lines from all the characters and lords and stuff. Valkyrie has some of the cooler speeches. Gutter Runners just scurrying around out here. Gonna secure the number 3 objective with the Chaos Knights. You know, I didn't know where all of the Gutter Runners were, but, you know, I mean, when you've got, you know, 13 units on the field and you can only see 9 of them, you figure that there's a blob of Gutter Runners running around here somewhere. This gives me an opportunity to talk about why the Soul Grinder is good. A little scattered today. I apologize for that, but the reason why Soul Grinder is good against a missile-heavy faction like the Skaven is actually because weapon teams are damn near impossible to protect. From Furies, Fleshhounds, Chaos Warhounds, Valkyria. Blood Shrines are very good at killing weapon teams too, actually. So, it really makes it difficult for the Skaven players to be bringing out the Jezzails, Rattling Guns, Poison Wind Mortars, even the Avalanche Mortars are pretty unsafe. So Soul Grinder is very good at counter-skirmishing with longer range than Gutter Runners. So that's what he's pretty good at, as well as just being a massive issue in terms of leadership for Skaven. You can see he provides the damage by artillery debuff. He also provides terror. And those two things in combination, if you get a rear charge after shooting a unit and then just get behind them, you get the damage by artillery debuff, attacked in the rear debuff, and then a terror route pretty much immediately on top of that. You can see how effective the scatter shot is. You know, he's got like a grape shot type missile attack, which is pretty good. He's already up to 30 kills, just providing a little bit of damage, like I said. Marauders trying to get in there on the Clan Rats, but my opponent doing a good job of kiting back and countercharging the Marauders with Skrulk here, as well as some Plague Monks and Rat Ogres, which is going to be a very bad fight for those guys. Plague Monks over here going to be fighting Chaos Warriors in a moment. The Pestilent Breath clipping the Bloodletters a little bit, but the real big fight that's going on right now is these Rat Ogres versus the Minotaurs, and these Minotaurs are taking these Rat Ogres down, man. Huge armor-piercing attacks from these guys, and they're really punishing the Rat Ogres for being a little bit too aggressive. Sleipnir went down around here, hit these Plague Monks, doing a lot of damage, man. Very, very powerful spell and ability. And it's just kicking off across the front line. Ooh, Rod of Corruption going down from Skrulk, but he does get punted away from all of the units. That's very unfortunate. I was wondering why it didn't do that much damage, and why the aura effect moves so much, but I think the Soul Grinder or the Blood Shrine punted him away. And both of these units here with Valkia doing a lot of damage to this Plague Monk, driving them off, making it very difficult for the Skaven to consolidate a battle line. And here in the back, Chaos Knights, they're getting a little bit too aggressive. I was trying to get a full surround and come around on these retreating Gunner Runners, but the Spears and Rat Ogres intercepting these guys, trying to pull them out. They're in a very bad fight there. Don't want to be in that combat. But Furies are doing a good job against this unit of Rat Ogres. This is actually the ROR, and I do get a nice collapse with the Knights here. And they're going to be putting the pressure on these guys, outright routing them and just clearing them out, man. Really nice for me. Chaos Warriors, they've already beaten one unit of Plague Monks who are running right now. The Soul Grinder helping them out a little bit. Blood Shrine coming to help as well. You can see just how devastating its charge attacks are against infantry. Mulching those units, giving the Chaos Warriors a rout just about on these guys. Imminent at the least. And there you go, they are broken. Hounds of the Blood Hunt helping out a little bit too. And really, really collapsing a lot of the Skaven on this middle point. I am getting punished on the overextend with the Knights. They did kill one Rat Ogre, though, the Hellfighters, which is pretty nice for me. Not the best value, though, so a bit of a loss, and really well played by Animate to shut those guys down. Pulling the Furies out of combat, and gonna make the mistake of trying to continue with the Flesh Hounds and get on the Gutter Runners here, which isn't going to go too well for me. Just a little bit too many guys there. But I am getting another kill on this unit of Rat Ogres with my Minotaurs, who don't have the most amazing value in the world, but the value that they have gotten has pretty much exclusively been against 2 Rat Ogre units, so really appreciating and loving life there. Forsaken coming out in the field, which is, you know, a nice summon in. These guys are very good at enduring those ninja stars from the Gutter Runners. Going a little farther past them than I need to there. So that's what the Forsaken are here for, just to clear out chaff and deal with all of those rats. Marauders taking an unfortunate fight there. Going to get beat up pretty badly by the Marauders and Rat Ogres here, but just throwing them in there to do a little bit of extra damage and to keep the rats a little bit more occupied back there. Hounds of the Blood Hunt. I don't know what happened with the Doppelgang unit here. I guess they just dissipate if they get into combat or something. Oh, huge Sword of Khorne. Nailing these 2 Gutter Runners here. Doing a little bit of damage to the Clan Rat Spears. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And out here on the flank, popping Relentless Rage on the Hounds, just to keep them in combat a little longer, do a little extra damage against the Ixis Triads. They are going to be dissipating here in a moment, though. And that's, it's rare that you're able to just use Relentless Rage in tandem with a giant Sword of Khorne. That's 500 entities that you have to kill to get those abilities in conjunction with one another. But against Skaven, that's pretty easy, honestly. There's just so many Clan Rats and Plague Monks, and the entity counts are pretty crazy on the Skaven units. Just so many rats out on the field at once, and farming value off of them is real nice. Stinky Boy, he's just running around. He's got an okay value, and is, like I said, a really nice choice just because he's pretty hard to kill, hard to catch in general, and deal with. And Valkia doesn't really want to fight him one-on-one. He can do pretty decent damage to her, even though he doesn't have amazing armor piercing. Charging in here with the Minotaurs, doing a little bit of damage. Gonna be running out of here real fast because the Ixis Triads are following up. They do have the concealment bombs popped, but they're close enough to be seen. And the Soul Grinder coming back to the fight. He was chasing off some routing units and is back to do some good work for the Blood God. Although Weeping Blade is active on him, lowering his armor by half. Sleipnir going in, doing a good bit of damage, but this guy taking a lot of poke, and now Liber Bubonicus popped on him, really doing a lot of damage to him. Really good Pestilent Breath as well, and a Rod of Corruption on the Marauders in the front line. My front line's wavering a little bit. Luckily, the Bloodletters are able to fill in there, and I'm following up with the Forsaken here. They're pushing past this unit of Clanrat Spears just to support up here because there are some Rat Ogres coming, and Forsaken do pretty good damage to Rat Ogres, actually, just because of the really high weapon strength. I mean, 63 is pretty nuts. Good melee attack as well on these guys. Blood Shrine going in to support this fight as well and keep these guys buffed up, and another unit of Forsaken coming out, trapping up more rats, doing a lot of damage, and the Marauder Horsemen charging in here, actually getting pretty aggressive with them, but they're very good in melee combat against small targets, and they're really running over these gutter runners right now. But some clan rats come in to buffer, so I'm just going to pull the horsemen back, let them sit in the rear, throw some axes, and chill a little bit. While the Soul Grinder and Forsaken are going to deal with that infantry unit, who do get beaten up immediately. While Skrulk, he fights fine one-on-one against Valkia, but gets terrified by the Soul Grinder, and is gonna just make his exit for a bit. Oh, I love that animation too, man. Sick laser eyes on this guy, up to 214 kills and plenty left in the bank, or left in the tank. I guess in the bank too for him. He's just having a good time, doing what he does best, and absolutely rolling over the Skaven right now. Some more Rat Ogres out on the field being attacked by my Minotaurs. And back here, some Flesh Hounds unfortunately get caught by Wolf Rats. Wolf Rats with the magical attacks making short work of those guys. But short work made of the Rat Ogres in return is a much better trade in my favor. Really loving the performance of those Minotaurs. And here, I'm not too afraid of sending the Hounds of the Blood Hunt back out onto the field. They do remove the magical attacks on the Wolf Rats, and they do just mulch through Clan Rats and have Gore Feasts to mitigate a lot of the damage that they might otherwise take. And it's looking pretty grim for the forces of the Skaven. Got a bit of a deficit here, losing out on value. They did capture the Blood Shrine in the rear here. Wasn't quite able to show it, but this massive blob of Rat Ogres was actually able to effectively handle that very annoying chariot piece. But the middle point is very securely held by me still. I've got these Forsaken on the field. I've got the Soul Grinder, who's pretty low now. My opponent gathering up the Gutter Runners and doing a great job of counter-firing him, but going to get buffered out here in a moment by a lot of the infantry, and he's still got quite a bit of ammo, so he's just going to pull out, and he's going to turn about face and just fire his little shotgun cannon for as long as possible to get as much value out of him as he can. But the impact he's had has been pretty outsized from what the value might show. 225 kills, that's a lot of army ability charges, and, you know, that's also a lot of terror that he's been throwing down. Actually, it's a pretty decent shot on that Rat Ogre. It doesn't kill him, but does a little bit of damage to the model. Valkia fighting in here, a little bit isolated though now. The Marauders are gone, they're running away, and I don't really have any other infantry to make that happen there. Forsaken, they do get on the Gutter Runners, but a unit of Plague Monks comes out and does a pretty good job of handling those guys. But despite being thin on the middle, I have a unit of Bloodletters holding my number 1, which is very secure now, which I can always, of course, move to the middle if need be, and I am pressuring the number 2 objective with the Horsemen and Hounds of the Blood Hunt here, which my opponent has to respond to. So instead of being able to capture the middle and focus all of his attention there, he's having to divide his forces here, which can be a little bit dangerous for the forces of the Skaven. They do have a lot of Rat Ogres here, but they're a little thin on infantry. It's just Clan Rats and a summon of Clan Rats. So Clanrat Spears and a Summon. Not really going to be enough to buffer out these Chaos Knights who are returned to the field. Fire from the Soul Grinder doing some pretty good damage. And the Minotaurs shortly going to be re-engaging, while Fleshhounds, very good against Rat Ogres, actually, just because of the weapon strength, decent melee attack, and the like. For the same reason that Forsaken are good against these guys, really. Minotaurs charging back in, punting a couple of the Rat Ogres around, which is pretty funny. And the Soul Grinders in combat here as well, ready to recommit and get back in there for the Blood God. And Plague Monks, a little too late for them, and they get absolutely trashed by the Soul Grinder. It does a lot of damage on the charge against infantry. You can see how quickly these guys are being taken to town by all of these very dangerous Khorne units. I do give up the number 1. I lose the Forsaken out there, but I bring the Marauder Horsemen back to the middle with the Hounds of the Blood Hunt. They're going to help secure that, or keep that middle objective secure, while I just chase down the Rat Ogres back here with the Marauder Horsemen, which is a very nice use of these guys. Very happy with their performance, and the Soul Grinder doing great. The Minotaurs absolutely handling business, man. One summon of them countered a lot of the Rat Ogres that Via was bringing out, and just did a great job of providing that counterpunch to those very annoying large targets. GG, well played to Anime. I'm not sure what Skaven can do. I mean, you have to have an answer to the Soul Grinder, I think, or it just causes so many problems for your leadership and your front line that it makes it really hard to get the most value out of the Gutter Runners, who, as you can see, they didn't do terribly for sure, but could have done a lot more at the end of the day. Skrulk, he did alright. Nothing too terrible. And the Rat Ogres really underperformed in this match. A couple of these guys came out multiple times. Pit Fighters came out twice and really did not pay for themselves either time. Ixis Triads, not quite paying for themselves. So I think Skaven players, if you're not expecting the Soul Grinder in some regard, it's a pretty impossible matchup. If you have a way to counter them, I'm not sure how it plays out, but I think it's important to make an accounting for this unit, because this Soul Grinder is probably single-handedly one of the most obnoxious units in the game for a lot of factions to deal with. There's quite a few that can't deal with him well. Slaanesh struggles against him, although a little bit less so than the Skaven do. And Greenskins, they don't love fighting against the Soul Grinder either. He can sit back and avoid their missiles pretty effectively as well, kite around, and just be a nuisance. So I'm going to call it there. I hope you guys have seen the power, maybe seen the light of the Blood God in the form of the Soul Grinder. Maybe y'all will see him a little bit more on the battlefield from here on out. So GG's, peace, and take care, guys.